kick off, Russell. Let's turn our attention and flip the page over to those Michigan Wolverines, and maybe not as loaded up near the top of the draft, but Michigan knows how to recruit. There's a lot of players, a lot of talent, and we mentioned some of these guys will be missing in action today. But let's take a look and shine the spotlight on the Michigan top prospects.
Well, firstly, you mentioned not a lot at the top. And I think if you look at what they have so many guys that are going to be drafted or priority free agents, even if they're not high picks. That's part of the reason a guy like Underwood has been able to come in and slowly get better and better throughout the season. That the team keeps winning because they're strong with veterans throughout. I mean, you just look offensively. I mean, you have two offensive linemen that people are really looking at. Gio El Hadid and Greg Crippen. Hadid is the center, Crippen's the guard. Virtually the same size, 6'3", about 315, 320 for both of them. Neither one of these is guys that pick guys up and throw them down the street, but they're fundamentally sound. They stay over their feet. They know exactly where to be. They have great communication skills. These are the types of guys that get into NFL camps either as late round picks, priority free agents, and because of the coaching at Michigan, because of their smarts, their competitiveness, their intangibles, they end up sticking around. And a lot of guys like them end up playing a lot in the NFL. Max Bredesen, the guy we mentioned that's injured, old school fullback, H-back type. He will blow someone's head off if he gets a chance as a lead blocker. More teams are starting to go back a little bit to having that guy to knock guys' heads off. I think he's going to play in the league. Justice Haynes doesn't get a lot of sort of great publicity out there. Good running back. Not a super explosive guy that's just going to run away from people, but he's got short area quickness. He's got a little bit of twitch through the hole. I like him as a day 3 guy. Two interesting guys sort of on the offense that are sort of not really talked about much. The Donovan McCulley kid, the receiver, huge kid, over 6'4", over 200 pounds. Better athlete than I think he gets credit for because he's so long. You don't really see that speed, but he can run. I think he's going to get a chance as a priority free agent. And the other kid to me on offense that's so unique is the Marlon Klein kid, the tight end. I mean, you talk about a kid, he's from Germany, kid's over 6'5", almost 250. There have been reports that he runs in the 4.5 range.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a feeling that because of his athletic traits, even though teams are talking about him now as a late round PFA, I could see this kid going to an all-star game, going to the combine and flying up draft boards. And I'm not saying he's going to be a first rounder, but I could see someone in that 3rd or 4th round saying, this is a guy we really believe could be something. He reminds me actually of the kid from Ohio State that bounced around the league for a while, just washed out a year or two ago, big, tall tight end, never really found a home. This kid looks like a more athletic version of him. Of course, I can't remember his name. This kid's got something to him. Defensively, they're just loaded when you look at that defense. Derek Moore, really good pass rusher, guy that's probably going to push in the second, maybe squeak into the first. Jay Schwan Barnum on the other side, another defensive end. Not as big, not as thick, not as powerful, but a good football player. I think he's in that 3rd round area. Ray Benny, the defensive tackle, not a guy that gets a lot of publicity. All he does is do his job. He stays on his feet. He controls his man. Powerful kid, even though it's crazy to say this, but he's only 300 pounds. But he controls the blocker. He's got good strength. I think he's a late round consideration. The Hossman kid, we talked about, he may not play. Sort of an undersized guy, 6'1", about 220. He can run. He's a really good coverage linebacker for them. I think he's got a chance if he gets healthy, whether it's today or just going through the spring to where he can work out. Got a chance of being a day 3 guy. I will throw a guy that's probably on nobody's list, but I think he's going to get a chance as the Jimmy Rolder kid. He's their other linebacker, 6'2", 240, 3-year all-conference academic guy, played in 40-plus games there. He's one of their leading tacklers this year. He just makes plays. He's not special athletically. He's just all over the place. Zeke Berry is a corner, just under 6 feet, good length, good athlete. NFL people have told me they think he's a fringe guy, maybe a PFA, maybe a late rounder. And all this, and then their one elite guy that's probably going to be a first-round pick is junior Jair Hill. I mean, NFL teams like this kid, long kid, like we always talk about. If you're over 6 feet, you can run. NFL teams get excited. This kid's got something to him. I'd like to see a little bit more on his frame. He looks a little skinny when you
Yeah.
watch, but he can run, he can transition, he can adjust to guys. He's got good hips, he's got good agility. I think this is a kid who, firstly, could be a big challenge for him today. These are two big time receivers. It's going to be a great matchup. Great chance for him to prove and, like you
Yes.
said, stamp that flag. He could show today, hey, I am a top 15 pick. He goes out there and just has a great game.
No doubt, especially if he comes up with a big interception, because I'd like to see him make some more plays. I think that's the one thing missing. But yeah, you talk about 6'1", 185 pounds, should test really well, has stepped in and been that cornerback one for Michigan. I will say I agree. Derek Moore, the top rated prospect for the Wolverines. I'm a little bit higher on Justice Haynes because I think back to Blake Corum, and I actually have Haynes rated a little bit higher, and I think Corum went in the third or fourth round, but
He
very
did.
very compact frame, uh, gains those tough yards between the tackles. Now, obviously, he's nursing the injury, so we'll see what comes out of the medical report. But I think this is a guy. I don't know if he's not a starting running back, he's definitely going to play a huge role in a committee type of situation. And I'm looking forward to what Marlon Klein runs at the NFL scouting combine.
Me too. That's a really interesting one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we mentioned Rod Moore is also on the mend. One guy we have not mentioned that we should. I got three guys. TJ Guy is like an off the bench situational pass rusher. He had a bunch of sacks last year, not so much this year. But you talk about power four pedigree, a little bit of starting experience, good size, sack production. TJ Guy might be one of these guys you bring into a training camp and get a look. And then TJ Metcalf.
And I'm just going to interrupt you before you get to the next two guys, because you and I know, having worked in the CFL, what can't you find in the CFL? That's pass rushers. And why? Because if they've ever shown the ability to rush the passer and their heart is still beating, NFL teams keep bringing them in. So you mentioned a perfect guy. He's probably not a guy that NFL teams think is going to make it, but they see a little bit of something that he knows how to get to the quarterback. No doubt. Literally, teams will throw their parents overboard to try to find a guy who can rush the passer because you can't find these guys.
It's tough. It's very difficult.
So it's a great point you make of bringing this guy up, because I'd seen him during the past 2 years, and he would flash. You'd be like, "Ooh, who is this kid?"
Yeah.
And then he's not playing.
Yeah.
For like the next year, you're like, "What happened?" But yeah, you make a great point, because anybody who can get to the quarterback consistently in a P4 school, they got to get a look, because you can't find there just aren't enough humans on the planet who can get to the quarterback.
Yeah, no, it's very true. TJ Guy, one name that you need to know, as is TJ Metcalf, the other safety who's kind of stepped in, filled the void there by Rod Moore, steps up in the box, 6'1", 200 pounds. Again, probably an undrafted free agent. And then the last guy I want to mention, who has a very strong chance of being drafted. In fact, he's our number one rated kicker, Dominic Zavada. You brought him up in the past. Dominic Zavada, Russ. Big boot kicker. And listen, at the end of the day, this game very well could come down and hinge on the leg of Dominic Zavada.
There's no doubt. And you know me, I'm a huge kicker punter guy. I spend tons of time on them. The only reason I generally don't like to draft kickers is because most kickers become their best kicker on their third or fourth team. And I always remember the lesson I learned from a Jersey guy, or a Philly guy, but Jersey. I think I may have told you the story about Sean Lande. He was at the Rams with me, the old punter for the Giants. And punters and kickers virtually have nothing to do all day. So Sean would come sit and watch film with me, or harass me, whatever you want to call it, while I was doing my work. And Sean always talked about one thing, which is punters and kickers don't make it in the NFL until they can come to grips with and understand that every single kick is your career. He said, once they get past that, they can make it. And that's why he said, I never worry about a rookie. He goes, because you can get in their head. So this is a kid that no doubt has NFL tools to kick. How long it's going to take him to get over the every single kick is my career thing, don't know. And that's why I don't like drafting kickers. But I understand that certain people are going to go out. But you look at the Jake Moody a year ago. Look at the kid the Rams just cut yesterday, who they took last year. Hardy, I think was his name. They took in the 6th round last year. most kickers don't make it until their second or third team because they've got to build up the mental toughness.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know quite a few kickers that have been drafted high have not worked out too.
Yep.
So
The most famous one is John Lee. John Lee, second round pick by the Arizona Cardinals, complete disaster. And then you get guys like John Carney, undrafted out of Notre Dame, cut 7 or 6 times before he ends up with the Chargers and ends up kicking in the NFL for over a decade. So sometimes it's just got to get over that mental hurdle.
yeah,
And just go out
no.
there and swing that leg.
I remember Young Ho Koo we had down at
Mhm.
the College Gridiron Showcase, and it actually took him, I think, 6 NFL seasons before he got activated to the NFL 53-man roster. And then I think his first season he made the Pro Bowl or All Pro, and hence he's had a little bit of struggles in between. But you talk about the grind, the journey. This guy, even the kickers love the game, man. It took him 6 seasons to even get elevated to the active roster. But you're absolutely right. Borregales, I think, was drafted one year. There's another kid out of Florida State that didn't work out. And
I
of
mean, not
course,
everybody can be like me and go find Billy Cundiff at Drake. And he wins the
Billy
starting job
Cundiff.
as a rookie and is a 12-year NFL vet at a Drake, undrafted. So
What round did Sebastian Janikowski go in?
he was first. Seabass was first round pick by Al Davis, one of the greats
Panned
of
out.
all time. Oh yeah, well, think about it. First rounder,
The original dumb drunk kicker.
yeah. And the funny thing is, he wasn't even the first specialist they took in the first round. They took Ray Guy 20 years before that in the first round, and he turned out okay.
Yeah, not bad.
Al Davis knew what he was doing. It may have been a little bit different, but he knew what he was doing.
I think that's a good way to end the Ohio State Michigan prospect primer. I mean, what more can you ask for? In-depth kicking analysis.
Yeah, we're